Hi guys, so today we're going to draw the maxillary first premolar. What I like to do first is just to jot down any of the important features that the tooth has. For this one, such as two roots and bicuspid, just so I don't forget and I include those features while I'm drawing. And then I like to start off by just outlining a box so I know that I have to stay in those margins and my tooth forms correctly. In this instance, I did 11 centimeters by 8 centimeters. This is just an estimate of what I think where I want the tooth to be, and this can change for every tooth. And then I like to just mark the width halfway so I can draw a vertical line straight down and know that this is the middle line where my two roots will divide. And then I also like to draw a horizontal line about 1/3 of the way down into the box just to mark the position of my crown. I like to draw first in a dotted line just so it is easier to remove and then mark the lines in a darker pencil later on that I want to keep. So I'm drawing the CEJ first and just outlining where my crown will start. I start by drawing the little lingual cusp and taking it all the way up and then drawing a slightly larger buccal cusp and adjoining it to the CEJ. And then I start drawing the roots, making sure to keep one a little bit shorter than the other. Drawing in a dotted line is such a good exam tactic that I use during my examinations because I found out that if I drew with a straight sharp line at first and then I made a mistake, it was really hard to rub it out and then go over, just making the drawing look even messier. So I just get the basic shape with the dotted line first. Once I have the shape that I'm happy with, I go ahead and trace it with a darker line, joining the dotted lines together and keeping the lines that I want to keep. Now you can really see the tooth coming together with the sharper lines. I make sure to add all the features such as the mesial marginal groove, I make sure the roots are also pointing us slightly towards distally. Once I'm happy with the sharper lines, I go ahead and remove all the dotted lines and the horizontal and vertical divided lines that I drew at the start. In some instances, I also get rid of the box that I drew, but if you're short on time, such as when you're in an examination, you can just leave the box. Go back with my pencil and just redraw the lines that I erased. making sure everything is the way I want it. And then I go ahead and draw the canine fossa, which is visible on that tooth. I smudge it a little with my finger just to add a bit of depth, just to avoid such a sharp line. And in this instance, I did decide to get rid of the box. So that is what I did. And now all that is left is the labeling. So I'll go ahead and label all the sides, such as mesial, buccal and palatal, just so it is visible to my examiners that I know what side of the tooth I was drawing. I go ahead and mark the root and the crown area. Even though this is basic common sense, it is really important that in an examination you identify all the features, no matter how small or big you think they are. And then I went ahead and labelled my CEJ, also known as a cemento-enamel junction. I also drew lines to label the mesial marginal groove, larger buccal cusp, and the canine fossa. It is really important to also note that you don't want to write on top of your previous markings, so just keep everything as spaced out as possible, just so it is easier to mark and read for your examiners. Again, when you're drawing, there's no such thing as too much detail. Just add as much as you think is necessary to get you the most marks. In this instance, I felt like I wanted to add a bit more detail, and so I did with a red pen, such as it is bicuspid, and it has two roots pointing slightly distally, even though this is basic common sense, but in an examination they want to see that you know everything about that tooth and all its features. Then I went ahead and just boxed the palatal, buccal and mesial aspects, just to make it a bit more clear. It's also important that you take different color pens into your examination if tooth drawing is involved. You want to make things as clear as you possibly can. Here I went ahead and just separated the information I wrote from the top from my drawing. You do not have to do this, but I added this just for the purpose for those who may have some extra time in the examination and want to add some depth to the drawings. So I just started by slightly shading and then smudging it with my finger to add a bit of depth to my cusps and the roots, just to make it look a bit more appealing and 3D. Once again, this is not essential, but if you have time, you may as well do it. As you can see, this just adds a bit of dimension to the tooth that you drew, just to get that 3D effect as it is lifting off the page. But during an examination, it is not important to do that. All they want to see is that you're able to identify and label all your important features.